Good evening and welcome back to Tarot Tats and Tea. You're probably wondering to yourself, why is Elaine in her car? Well, it's a Saturday evening and my older son is attending a concert in Dublin. So what I do, I drop him off to the concert and then I park up and I hang around, or I'll get some dinner somewhere and I bring my Kindle and I read, or I do something to keep me entertained, whether it's watching TV on the go on my phone. And then sometimes I just park up and I have a sleep. Well, my usual parking space right outside the concert hall, there's no parking there anymore. They've taken it away. And so I have now come to the petrol station that's near Dublin Port. That's why I've got so much light here. You can see the light coming in. It's actually black dark here now. So I'm parked up here for now. I might try and go for a drive later on and see if there's any parking closer to the concert hall. But in the meantime, I brought with me something else to do in the car, and that was to show you what arrived today. And you could have nearly picked me up, I don't know, picked me up with a feather, knocked me over with a feather. What arrived today, for the first time ever for me, when I have pre-ordered with Amazon, usually I get a message stating it's out of stock or it'll be arriving at such and such a date, and then it goes further and further on. This is the first time a pre-order has arrived bang on time. And it's the complete Arthurian Tarot. Okay, I put that light on there. Does that any better? Not particularly. So it's the complete Arthurian Tarot. The box is a bit dinged up, which I'm a bit miffed about, but it's only the box. And the car that's parked facing me is driving off. So we've got a flash of headlights. We might get a few of them with being parked here. But so you can see it had a nasty ding. I'm going to fix, because the actual box is split there, so I'm actually going to fix that with some tape. But as long as the cards aren't damaged, or the book, the box I don't particularly mind. I'll just try straightening it out a bit, uncrumpling it and holding it with a bit of tape. But this deck I ordered last September, and it, like I say, it arrived today. I'll read the blurb on the back for you in a second. It's a Kate by Caitlin and John Matthews, and the illustrations are by Miranda Gray. I haven't had a look inside the box yet. I've just taken the polythene off the front of the actual box, and I struggled because I've got nothing with me, you know, not having my scissors, so I had to take my key out and scrape it with my key. So let's have a look and see what the back of the box says, if I can read it. This is where I might need the light. Yes. Step into a world of myth and legend. This classic collector's edition combines the Arthurian Tarot Deck with a deep and meaningful colour book that guides you on a quest for the sword. For the sword, spear, grail and stone, allowing you to immerse yourself in this rich and many-layered tarot. Now that sounds very interesting, doesn't it? So the book is giving us a task. We'll take a peep at that in a minute. Learn from the Lady of the Lake and journey into Arthur's world through 78 cards, the 22 greater powers of the Arthurian realm, together with the 56 lesser powers depicting the landscapes of the Logres. I think that says the ancient Arthurian kingdom that lies outside time. The book includes a meditation quest with guides and teachers to lead you through the year. So it's a year-long quest with this book, along with detailed card meanings, divination methods, and a selection of consultation spreads. Wow, I do apologise about my stuttered reading, but it's a little difficult to see. By following the seasonal quest for the Hallows, the ancient treasures, you will discover the spiritual empowerment of your soul's purpose. Meditate on the suits of swords, spear, grail, and stone to assimilate the teachings of the cards and establish your own access to the realms within the eternal kingdom of King Arthur and his court. That sounds like quite the adventure, doesn't it? My goodness, I wonder if we'll manage to fit this in along with the Tarot Grimoire and the Tarot for Writers. And I haven't done another Tarot for Writers video yet because I'm still writing from the last one we did. So yes, see there's a little hole there. So that will have to be sealed. I'm just sort of stretching out that ding bit there. Now let's have a look. Hopefully the book hasn't been damaged. Now look at that. There's the ding and there's the book, and by some small miracle the book has not got a mark on it. How good is that? Oh, it's a chunky monkey, this book is. Let's just have a look. It's got a slight, look at that, a slight bend in it where it's been dinged. Yes, it has. But that's going to be easily straightened. I'll pop that between some heavy books. Wow. Now, in the contents, we have the introduction, the cards' meanings. We've got the greater powers, the lesser powers, and working with the cards. The Hallow Quest, which is part 1, preparing for the Hallow Quest, and that's lessons 1 to 5. Part 2, the Quest for the Sword, spring lessons 6 to 17. Part 3, the Quest for the Spear, summer lessons 18 to 29. The Quest for the Grail is autumn lessons 30 to 41. And Part 5, the Quest for the Stone, winter lessons. Part 6 is the Way of the Hallows, lessons 54 to 60. And there's a study program on page 236 at the back of the book. There's a bibliography, some information about the authors, the artist, and acknowledgements. This sounds rather exciting. It's like an adventure. I don't know how many of you would remember them. I think it was before, you know, how Dungeons and Dragons are today. But going back to when I would have been, gosh, I'm probably about 17 or 18. My younger brother would have been seven, yeah, he'd been 7 or 8. It's 10 years between us, so whatever age, it's around that age, he started reading these Dungeon and Dragon books. And you read so far, and after a page or so, it's now make a choice. Do you want to do A and go to such and such a page, or do you want to do B, go on such and such a page? So you were working your way back and forth through the book to come to the end of the adventure on the last pages, and it depended what routes you took. Sometimes you even revisited parts at a later date and then came back. But it was such an adventure, and it was so good for feeding imagination and for encouraging reading. And my brother loved those books, and you know, I actually enjoyed looking at them too. And I kept some of them, I haven't them anymore, to use in my own classroom over the years. And they were great, they were really good. And then you look at what Dungeons and Dragons are today, it's a completely different game. It's amazing. So, sorry, I just digressed there. But that's what this reminds me of. You've got lessons all the way through, or activities to do, things to push you along and to delve deeper into this deck. I'm actually looking forward to this. Now let's just have a little look at what it says when it, you know, looking at this here introduction. Do you know, this deck first appeared in 1990 as the first ever Arthurian Tarot. Right, so it's hard to believe that since the appearance in 1990 as the first ever Arthurian Tarot, this deck, so finely illustrated by Miranda Gray, has been in continual print receiving wide acclamation from tarot users around the world. We are delighted that it will continue to help diviners find answers in this 25th anniversary edition, which includes a completely revised and updated course book to accompany the deck, enabling you to interact with the Hallows as you meditate your way around the year. It sounds really good. So we have some different names in this. So the Fool, the traditional title of the Fool is the Seeker. The Magician is Merlin. The High Priestess is the Lady of the Lake. The Empress is Guinevere. The Emperor is Arthur. The Hierophant is Taliesin. The Lovers, the White Hart. The Chariot is Pridwen. Strength is Gawain. And the Hermit is the Grail Hermit. The Wheel of Fortune is the Round Table. Justice is Sovereignty. The Hanged Man, the Wounded King. Death is the Washer at the Ford. Temperance is the Cauldron. The Devil is the Green Knight. The Tower is the Spiral Tower. The Star is the Star. The Moon, the Sun is the Sun. The Last Judgment is the Sleeping Lord. And the World is the Flowering of Logres. The suits we have I like the way they've shown us this. So we have the HalloQuest suits, which are sword, spear, grail and stone, and they equate to swords. The sword equates to swords, spear to wands, grail to cups, and stone to pentacles. And they would be in that order. Sword, spear, grail, stone would be spades, diamonds, hearts and clubs in playing cards. In seasons they would be spring, summer, autumn, winter, and in elements they would be air, fire, water, earth. So they have a nice little chart there that tells you all about that. Okay. The aces represent the four hallows of early Arthurian tradition: the sword, the spear, the grail and the stone, while the 2 to 9 depict the landscape of the HalloQuest through which the seeker journeys. In addition, the numerical value of the minor arcana cards may also be significant in a spread, especially one or more cards of the same value appear. 2 or more 9s, for example, may signify that the querent is currently in the final stages of integrating plans or preparing for the final manifestation of an idea. The reading may indicate how he or she could most effectively bring this about. The pips have certain inherent meanings, irrespective of suit, as outlined below, as well as indicating that particular path which the querent is travelling. So 2s signify finding a direction. The impulse for change that was experienced in the Hallows now makes its first move, sometimes tentatively, sometimes finding reciprocal response as it moves, the impulse to find wisdom. 3 signifies formalization, 4 first attempts to manifest, 5 modification and adjustments, 6 signifies harmony, 7s signify realization and extension, 8s signify organization, 9s integration, 10s culmination. The court cards, we have maidens, knights, queens and kings. So the maidens are the messengers. The knights are the prime movers who actively demonstrate strengths and weaknesses for the Hallows. Queens are the bearers who channel the energies for the Hallows. And kings are the guardians of the Hallows, giving experience of its wisdom to all who seek it. The court cards depict the maidens and queens as female and the knights and kings as male, but these face values do not necessarily denote gender, rather the quality which they bear, a mystical and idealistic woman who is teaching esoteric wisdom to others. for example, might be represented by the Grail Knight, while a practical young woman who has just opened a garden centre might be represented by the Stone Queen. Oh, the Gardaí have just pulled up. Oh well. So we then have the secrets of the different powers. This will be really great to read through later on. We have the cards and their meanings. After the cards and meanings, what do we have? Right, those are the minors, or the lesser cards. Working with the cards, formulating your question, how to interpret the cards. There's a lot of information in here. Arthurian Tarot spread. You have Pridwen's Anchor, you have Mabon's Gate, Pathways of the Quest, the Land's Adventurer's spread. You have the Shield of the Soul Protector. And then on page 93 begins the Hallow Quest course. The Hallow Quest course explores the realms within that are depicted on the Arthurian tarot cards. It is a template of your own quest and of the soul's journey. As you meditate your way through successive seasons of study, the path of the land's adventure, as the Trail of the Quest was known in the Arthurian legends, subtly becomes your own landscape. As you continue, you will find divining with the cards much easier because you have personally discovered information from each card. May your steps on this quest be guided by the companions that will attend you. Wow, it does sound really good, doesn't it? Then preparing for the quest, and I don't want to read ahead here because I'm going to be doing this. I'll do this and sort of let you know how I'm getting on as we're going along. So this is one that I won't do on my channel. I'll do this if I get time. So I don't want to commit to doing it too much just yet because we've got so much more going on the channel with other projects. But if I do it, I won't do it as a thing on the channel, but I will report back on how I'm getting on. The cards. Now let's get down to business. The cards in the box are in 2 trays. Sometimes I see I don't like cards that are like this. I prefer them when they're bunched together as one, simply because when you put the 2 lots together, they tend to have a sort of gap in them, and it annoys me. It's a bit silly really to get annoyed over such a little thing. So they don't come wrapped in cellophane, thank goodness. They just have the little bands around them. Now, usually I'm not one for borders as such, but you know, these are really fitting with the cards. So the backs are pretty much standard, pretty normal backs, okay? And we'll do it one pile at a time. So we'll look at this one, the Seeker. And look, and just make sure that light's on. Yeah. On here we don't have a dog, but we do have 3 ravens with our Seeker. And with it being Arthurian, it's like looking through a window. It's like us looking from our land into the Arthurian land and peeping in at what's going on. You know, look at that. If we look here, what I do like about this is sort of like a little path. It comes to an edge here. But look, the path continues down. So that is not an edge that this person, Seeker, is going to just fall off. It must be a slope, because look, the path continues through the valley. Or has he just come up here and it's continuing this way? It's really nice. I'm not going to go in depth with every card. Sorry, I don't want to keep you too long with that. I'm just going to I don't want to fly through them either. I want them to be enjoyed. Here we have Merlin. The Lady of the Lake. Oh, I like that. I hope you can see them okay. I don't think I've recorded on my phone for my YouTube channel before, have I? I don't think I have. Then we've got Guinevere. Might turn that light off, that might not be so shiny on. I think the street light might be shining on there. Here we have Arthur. Taliesin. The White Hart. And remember, the White Hart is the stag there. That's lovely. Oh, here we've got Pridwen. Going. The Grail Hermit. Oh, I like that. The Round Table. Sovereignty. Here we have the Wounded King. And then remember, the Death card was the Washer at the Ford. The Washer at the Ford. Very witch-like, isn't she? Some of the lorries are leaving now. Then we have the Cauldron. The Green Knight. He was our devil. The equivalent of the devil, the Green Knight. The Spiral Tower. Wow, this is quite interesting because the Spiral Tower is exactly as it says. It looks like a unicorn horn coming out the ground with lightning bolts hitting it. But below that, where we would normally see people falling from the tower, we don't have that. Below that, on the sort of midway up the hill going towards this tower, we have an owl, and we have all the symbols of the zodiac. The astrological symbols. So that will be very interesting to read about. See there? There's our owl, and we have all the symbols of the zodiac here. Let's see if I can bring it in close up. There you go. And you see what I mean by the spiral tower? It's just like a unicorn's horn. That's very interesting, that. The star. The moon. We have salmon swimming up a river here on the moon. Wow. Look at the image there. If we can get that to focus in, can we know? Trying to get you to see the image there on the moon. The sun. The Sleeping Lord. I love the eagle in the sky in this one. I love birds, so seeing that eagle there, I think it's beautiful. And the flowering of logris. That's really nice. Wow. The flowering of logris. Now we're coming to the lesser grail. We've got the, what did you say, the higher grail and lesser grail, I think it said, didn't it? So let's have a look what we've got here. Spear Hallow. So this would be our wands. So this is the Spear Hallow. Okay, so that's our Ace of Wands. Very fiery, isn't it? Spear 2. This is very interesting because it's as though 2 spears have been used to create an arch, and 1 spear in the ground. So although they've used, or have they? I don't know. Yeah. Whatever, it's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. See our arch there. And you've got a hawk, a sparrow hawk that they train to fly from your hand. It has his cap on his head. This is 3 spear, and the trees have been used in this as part of that. Spear 4. Spear 5. And remember, these have been done as lands, so that when you're working through the Hallow quest, that you meditate on these and you take yourself into the card, into the image, and find what comes to you. I love meditating on cards. I'm lucky I get the time to do that. Genie Mac, it's gone a bit cool in here now. I'll be putting the heating on in a minute. Spear 7. Spear 8. Gosh, that reminds me of so many places I've visited in both Wales and Ireland. Spear 9. Spear 10. Then we have our Spear Maiden. Our Spear Knight. Like that. Lots of movement in that card. Our Spear Queen. And our Spear King. His toga. Now we're coming to the Grail Hallow. So this is the Ace, or the Grail Hallow, the start of it. Grail 2. Grail 3. Must be there. Okay, sorry, Grail 3. Now we're moving on to the second pile. Just see if I can slip this band on again. So I'll be putting these back into my handbag, and oh yeah, that fits back on nicely. There we go, the next lot. Grail 4. Landscapes are beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Grail 5. Grail 6. Grail 7. See, the Hallow Quest, when you're working with that, it's actually going to really get you used to using these cards. Grail 8. Grail 9. Grail 10. Grail Maiden. Grail Knight. Grail Queen. And Grail King. I'm just going to pause the recording for a minute. My son's just messaged me, so I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so here I am back again. Oh, right. The next suit we're coming across is the Sword Hallow. Okay, so there you go. And as we said, the swords is the same as the swords in your traditional tarot. The Sword 2. I like the way, you know, normally when we see this 2 of swords, it's crossed and someone blindfolded. This is 2 swords on a path, almost as if to say, right, this is the way you need to go, as opposed to, what way am I going to go? This is leading you down the path. And at the end of the path, if you look, it's a little V, and I would say it's almost like a T-junction in paths. Which way do you go then? It's really nice, that card. Sword 3. And you know, like burning bridges, that's a crumbling bridge, as opposed to your traditional heart and swords piercing it. Sword 4. I like that. Oh, Sword 5. Oh. That's a bit dismal looking, isn't it? Sword 6. Someone has got their lights on, the car's facing me. Their lights are shining straight into my passenger, my driver's side window. They're blinding me. I'm not going to get violent and go and put her headlights out. Promise I won't. Right. Sword 7. Sword 8. That reminds me of something out of Lord of the Rings. You know, when they're crossing that land and you've got all the past people and the spirits in the water. That's what that reminds me of. Sword 9. Oh, look at the impaled heads there. A lot of these cards are going to be really nice to actually read up on and see what angle that the creators are coming from with these cards. Sword 10. Then we have Sword Maiden. Sword Knight. Sword Queen. And Sword King. Now our next one is the Stone Hallow, which would be our pentacles in traditional tarot. And the stone on this one takes the form of a checkerboard or a drafts or chessboard. Stone Hallow. It's almost like it's saying to enter here, you have to move strategically. Stone 2. Stone 3. Oh, wow. Stone 3. Stone 4, and we have the checkerboard there again. stone 4, stone 5, stone 6, stone 7, I like the look of that, stone 7, stone 8, stone 9, stone 10. I really like this stone 10. You got 10 of Pentacles. You know, with that one we're always surrounded by people that to love and support us. But look at this one. We've got 2 magpies carrying the checkerboard, as if to say, we're going to help you with your plans and strategies to get to where you need to be. We'll guide you and show you the way. So still, even in this one, you still have people or something watching over you. The Stone Maiden. What was your one's name who asked for John the Baptist's head on a plate? Wasn't Jezebel, was it? Might have been. Someone's revving their engine. But look at this. That a bit gruesome. But wow, hey. Then we have Stone Knight, and we've got the checkerboards in this again, or the chessboards. The Stone Queen is actually, it's like the magpies from Stone 10 have come in through the window and put the checkerboard down on a table, and we've a blackbird playing chess with her. Look at that. There we go. And finally we have Stone King. There we go. So people, this is the complete Arthurian Tarot with the new book. From what I'm seeing now, and like I say, I'm not usually one for borders and stuff, especially these ornate borders, because sometimes I feel it's closing the image in as opposed to giving you that chance to expand and read a card more in depth. With this, I feel that this is not necessarily closed in, but you are looking through a window into another land in another time. And when you meditate on these and stepping in through that archway, that window, that's exactly what we'll be doing. And it gives me that feeling of a definite divide between here in this world and stepping back in time. So to me, those borders are very much needed in this deck, because this isn't like free roaming here and now. It's, like I say, going back, exploring very, very in depth. And through the activities that are listed within the book, this is going to be quite an interesting journey. And I always use the term journey. People, you know, many of you might think, oh, here we go, another journey for Elaine. I find that any tarot deck, each tarot deck is so different that each of them is like a journey. You know, after all, it is the fool's journey. And when we embark on this path of tarot and we go down and we explore and we have a look at what's what and what means what, and how we pull out our interpretations from each card, it is a complete adventure. Each deck is a new adventure in its own way. There's a very modern deck that I have. It's a deck that's really suited for younger people starting out in tarot, because the images are so modern. The Cosmic Tarot, I think it's called. It is so colourful, borderless, and so young at heart. And I often find when I'm reading that and I'm going on an adventure, and the activities that the characters and the cards are getting up to are so modern. I'm sort of looking through a younger person's eyes at these cards. I love reading for younger people with that deck. It really is, and it's a deck that, because it's so modern, it's not sort of, you're not there seeing Baphomet staring back at you on the devil card, so to speak, you know, and it's not freaking people out. It's really gentle and enjoyable, you know. So I'm going to love you and leave you there. Hopefully I'm going to get this up on my YouTube channel before tonight's over, if I can manage to do it all on my phone. If not, I'll stick this on my laptop and get it all ready tomorrow. But thanks for joining me. I'm here now. I'm going to get my Kindle out in a minute, because I may as well use her light. See, she's got her lights on, and it's glowing up the inside of my car. Oh, so you take care, everybody. Have a lovely Saturday evening and a very restful Sunday, and I'll catch up with you all soon. Bye.